So a year ago to this day, the world I was living in was in a complete lockdown for about 4 to 5 months. You weren't allowed to go anywhere outside of your house and go past 5 kilometers unless you were doing essential things such as work and getting groceries. And if you were in close contact with someone who was tested positive with the Rona, you had to isolate yourself in a room for 14 days. And unfortunately, for me, I was one of the people who was in close contact with someone, and I had to isolate myself in a room for 14 days. However, I didn't just isolate myself in any room. I isolated myself in my home studio, and I challenged myself. I said, I've got 14 days to myself. What if I try and make an album in 14 days or less? And lo and behold, it was the craziest thing I've ever done so far with music, but I did it. And I just wanted to make this video just to say thank you to everyone who has streamed and shared my EP Peace in the Chaos over the last year. And you know, I'm thankful for the people that it's reached and it's blessed, and you know, wanted to take this time to also just reflect on what happened over the last year or so and give a bit of a life update of my own. So let me talk to you about the album recording process, because that was really fun and really challenging. I had a whole bank of library of tracks and songs that I've made over the past 5 years at that time since I started producing, and had them all stored up in a hard drive, and thought, oh yeah, what if I worked on these ideas? But none of those ideas were any good except for one of them, which I actually ended up using for the EP. But instead I was just like, where can I draw inspiration from? What kind of music and themes would I be able to make right now that would bring comfort and peace and healing over people? So I decided to just make everything from scratch. You know, started up and making little guitar ideas, keys ideas. I did wacky things like even used a ukulele. I sang into a mic and did a whole bunch of things. It was a really fun process. And during the time when I was, you know, making music and just thinking of what was going on in such a chaotic time, you know, there was pandemic going on, there was people in war-torn countries that had a lot going on, there was people in my family and friends who were grieving, who lost people. Actually, during my second day of tracking the album, my Lola, my grandmother, passed away, and during that time you weren't even allowed to see her. I mean, we had to see my Lola on a deathbed on a Zoom, and that was crazy. And in fact, the day I'm filming this right now, August 20th, is actually 1 year to the day she passed away. A lot of the healthcare workers who were coping with so much stress, and you know, family members who lost their loved one. What else was going on at that time? There was teachers and students who were just locked in their houses and couldn't go to work, and everyone was on Zoom at the time. You couldn't go to church, for crying out loud. And people who, you know, who were really close to me at that time at church were really burnt out and frustrated, and you know, just times changed, and people just lost interest. There was a lot of people going through anxiety, depression, and you know, there were so many people I was thinking about during that time, creating the music and thinking who would it speak to. That time I just felt I needed to pray and ask God, like, God, what music should I make? Like, what kind of music can I create to reach out to people who are going through such difficult times, people who are losing their jobs, people who are losing people in their families, people who are in war-torn countries, and you know, people who are going through anxiety and depression. And the verse that, you know, God spoke to me through was John 14:27, where it says, "Peace I leave to you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives, and do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." I was thinking of musical ideas and themes that would give comfort to people that were just going through so many things. And yeah, I mean, when you had 14 days to yourself to just go nuts and create whatever ideas, I wound up just going on a creative spree and made 7 songs. Pretty crazy. And I mixed and mastered the whole thing myself too. That took me about 2 to 3 days. And then when I launched it to go to DistroKid and be distributed to all streaming platforms, it went live, and within 2 days it got 2,000 plays, the whole album. And then at the end of the year, the whole thing got streamed more than 10,000 times, went to 36 different countries, and really blessed and so many people, and I really, really am thankful for all the messages people who have sent me. I received stories and messages from people who said their friends were in ICU, and the songs gave them comfort and peace, and people whose parents were about to pass away, and just people who are having a baby and just were feeling so anxious at the time, just felt a lot of peace and comfort. And I am really, really grateful for that, and I'm grateful to God for having the opportunity to do that, and it really means a whole lot to me. Yes, 365 days later, the world is a much better place. I mean, you can go anywhere past 5 kilometers of your house. You can go travel internationally and interstate now without almost any issues. You can go see your friends and your loved ones, and you can go to concerts and events. But as good as things are right now, I really don't want to forget what happened in the last year, because I want people to, and even myself, to really, really not take anything that we have right now for granted, because it can all be taken away just like that. And for those who are watching this video, I applaud you all for enduring such a crazy time, especially for those who lived in my area, Western Sydney, where we were, locked down for ages. It was like the Simpsons bubble thing where you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't go anywhere past 5 kilometers, for crying out loud. Now we can even do stuff like gathering in a church. I mean, geez, it's pretty crazy. So much has happened in a short amount of time. Like, my studio where I recorded that EP doesn't exist anymore, because the house we were living in at the time for 22 years, we sold it. Now we moved house and are living in a brand new house, and currently in the works of about to make a new home studio. Don't know when that'll be, but so all my music gear is currently at the church where I am right now. There hasn't been a lot of music that I've made on my end so far this year, but that's totally okay. I'm all good with that. But yeah, I just wanted to take this time to say thank you to all of you who took the time to listen to the music I made and shared it, streamed it, downloaded it, whatever you guys did. Shared it on your Instagram stories or your Facebook walls. I just wanted to applaud all of you people who endured such a crazy time. To all you teachers who had to teach kids through Zoom, all you students who had to finish off your final exams and were just locked away and weren't allowed to go to your schools, or for those who were in your youth groups, weren't allowed to happen, for all you people who were going through grief and lost loved ones at the time. A lot of us are still going through battles to this day, but I just hope and pray for the peace and comfort of God upon you all. And yeah, let's not take life for granted. Let's not take these opportunities that we have now for granted, because like I said, it could be all taken away in a heartbeat. And I hope that we never stop loving people, and we never stop treating each other with kindness and respect. And yeah, I just pray and hope that whatever happened the last 2 years and the craziness, that things will get better from here on out. So yeah, peace in the chaos. 1 year, pretty insane. Forever grateful, and hopefully there's more music to come. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyways, peace out.